Welcome, human resource and organization development professionals. Today, I am starting a series called The What, Why, and How of Facilitating Organizational Development. Each video in this series will feature a particular tool or process that organizational development professionals should know and be ready to use with their companies. Today, we're working with core values, and I'm challenging myself to do each one of these videos in under 5 minutes to give you exceptional value. So let's get started. So what are core values? Core values are expressions of what we value most in our organization. They are meant to guide behaviors in our organization, so they're behaviorally written. The best employees in our organization currently show these behaviors, and we want all employees to exhibit these behaviors over time in every situation. And they are typically 2 to 4 in number. A sweet spot is 3. So why do we invest time in creating and communicating core values? The first reason is that you, the owner or executive, can't make all the decisions in your organization, nor do you really want to. Other employees are closer to the customer typically, and certainly are part of providing value to that customer and creating value for you. We want to empower those people to bring out their best, not micromanage them. Well-crafted core values provide both direction in terms of the behaviors that we want to see over and over and over again, and they also provide boundary. Any behaviors need to be in line with these core values and certainly shouldn't contradict them.
Before I explain how to craft a meaningful set of core values, let's provide a bit of context. Here you see a typical core values list. And what do you notice? It's like every other core values list you've ever seen. Well, you're not really trying to differentiate yourself from other companies. That's not the point. Your core values have lost the ability to capture the attention and imagination of your people and won't inspire them in any particular direction. The problem with lists like these is that there are simply too many values to your list, and they are too generic. The message that your people get is that none of these values are particularly important. But they are all important, you say. Yes, but you must differentiate between different types or categories of values in order to create and communicate them effectively. So what are those categories? Credit for this breakdown, which I'm modifying slightly, goes to Pat Lencioni and his book, The Advantage. Values come in 3 flavors, if you will. The first category is permission to play and includes values like integrity, safety, and financial responsibility. These values and the behaviors they call for are needed and expected of everyone in every business and are no more core for you than they are for anyone else. Rather than being trumpeted as core values, they should be, and most companies are, addressed by basic human resource policy, i.e., be honest, don't steal. The second bucket contains aspirational values, that is, those which we want to have in our organization but which we don't have now. For a company that has historically rewarded and advanced those who were, say, the first to work and the last to leave, work-life balance might be aspirational. You think it's important for your future, but you're going to have to manage it in actively. It's certainly not core to how your business has succeeded to this point. Core values define superior performance now. They're what distinguishes your very best employees from all others and are what make your company distinctive both internally and externally.
So now that we know what we're looking for, how do we go about crafting them? First, alert your people that you're primarily creating this for internal use to guide behaviors, not marketing. Secondly, identify who your best employees are right now and what makes them great. Then compare them with those who wash out, those who looked like they were going to be great employees, were technically very competent, but couldn't fit in with us. What's the difference between them? You'll come up with a list of qualities that you'll then consider as a leadership team. Which of these qualities resonate with us personally and why? Which call forth our best efforts? Expect to go through several iterations where you think, you identify, and then you go sit with them, and then come back and work with your word choice. At the end of this process, you should have 2, 3, maybe 4 values that are truly core for your organization. I followed the process that I just described to you and uncovered my own list of core values. The first is exceptional value, and I aim to do that at every interaction that I have with each and every one of my clients, each one of my suppliers, each one of my collaborators. Every interaction, and those have measures of quality, efficiency, and the kindness with which I do them. My second core value is truth, that I listen for it, be open to it, particularly when it's not what I wanted to hear, and that I speak it clearly and courageously. The third is humility, and I define that as esteeming others and as owning both the strengths that I have and my growth opportunities, my weaknesses. Now, a couple of points I'd like to bring out to you on this. The first is you might word these differently, and that's okay. I didn't create it primarily for you. I created it for me, to keep me on the straight and narrow, to remind myself of what is true and what's important. It's by acting in these ways that I feel like I bring my best work, best of the game, and it inspires me to do so. The second is, how do you know if, in fact, once you go through this process, how do you know if you've achieved core values? Well, would you risk losing money to still abide by this? I know of times in my career where I knew at that moment that the client didn't want to hear the truth I was ready to deliver. But because I felt it was necessary for them, I delivered it anyway, and I lost the business. And I was okay with that. I was, because truth for me is a core value. So how do you use the core values that you come up with? You use them in all aspects of selection and hiring. It's the easiest way to strengthen your culture is to bring on people who already abide and agree with what you think is most important. You use it in performance management. It becomes part of people's goals and part of their review process. You make it a recurring topic at your town hall meetings. You have core value moments where you may say, right now, I really want to reinforce that core value of humility in our organization right now. And so every meeting begins with somebody talking for 1 minute about humility and what that means for them and how they demonstrate that and how someone else might have demonstrated that for them. Do these first 4, and what you're creating is this reinforcing loop of culture. It's getting stronger, it's getting more robust all the time. It's becoming truer and truer to who you see it to be. The last point down here, and Pat Lencioni actually makes the case that core values really aren't for external use. And after working with a number of clients, I'm kind of seeing that while, again, it's primarily for internal use, there are places where I want to communicate clearly to customers. Here's what drives me, because I want those customers who agree with me to buy, and those that aren't necessarily tuned in to those particular values to go somewhere else. Thank you much for watching today's video on core values. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. 3 points as we close. Now, the first is my apologies. I said at the beginning of this video that I was shooting for 5 minutes, and I definitely did not hit it. And one of my core values is to provide exceptional value to you, which means I'm giving you great quality quickly. So I trust that the quality was worth your time, and know that I am continually working on that for myself. Secondly, I mentioned it a few times in the video today, but Pat Lencioni's book, The Advantage, is a superb read for organizational development folks. If you're responsible for getting core values out, for establishing direction, vision, this is superb. Great how-tos in this. So check out a copy. Thirdly, Sean Copeland is president and CEO of Region Bank. I did an interview with him a few weeks ago. It's listed elsewhere on this site. You should check out both parts 1 and 2 because Sean did a superb job of defining core values and reinforcing them throughout his organization. So use that as a way to hear how one person actually does it in the trenches. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to catching up with you again next week.